Dear viewers, welcome to REST Publications. By REST Publications, we mean Real Estate Services and Transaction Publications. This is where we discuss about real estate issues, real estate investments, how to be able to optimize performance of real estate, getting to know more about real estate so as to be able to create wealth from real estate, and understanding the various real estate services and transactions, issues that we could have. REST Publication is a subsidiary of RIS Academy, a center for real estate professional development in Lagos, Nigeria. I am privileged to be the Director of Studies of RIS Academy, and as an asset surveyor and valuer, I'm privileged to be the lead advisor of Olale Cambodari Consulting, an estate firm, one of the professional estate firms in Nigeria. You are welcome on board. Today we'll continue our discussion on viability studies, what investors should know. One aspect of it that we will be emphasizing today or discussing on today is actually the cash inflow, the assessment of the cash inflow, and the projection of the cash inflow. That's what we'll be discussing today. In our last episode, we have dealt extensively discussing the cash outflow, the assessment of the cash outflow, and even the projections and what constitute basis for a proper projection, realistic projection of cash outflow. So today, our focus will be on cash inflow in terms of assessment of the inflow and in terms of projecting the inflow. So I'll be right back after this short break. Please don't go away. It's my pleasure to have you back. As we said before we went on break, this discussion will center on cash inflow. What do we mean by cash inflow? We mean identification of all revenue, income that we can make from our real estate investment, particularly property developments. Identification of the various income and in form of all revenue that can accrue from our investment or project developments or our property developments. That is the inflow. Now, getting to know all this inflow requires that, one, we have to identify what will be the source of this inflow, what will be the form of the inflow, and in aggregating the inflow, what do they come to? The sum of all our revenue, what will they come to in terms of what will be the value of the projects we are to embark upon? Because, of course, that is the essence of embarking on the project. So, when we look at that, we are looking at the totality of revenue that can be generated from the projects that we want to embark upon. And in real estate parlance, we call that gross development value. We want to assess, assuming, even though our assessment is ex ante, right? We want to look at, okay, assuming this project is ready now, assuming the number of housing units are available in the market now, how much will market price them, and what will be the aggregation, the totality of the money that we can make out of the investments. Unit by unit. So take, for example, where you are doing a mass housing. Let's say you want to do 100 units of terrace, 4-bedroom terraces, for purpose of argument. And in doing that 100 units of 4-bedroom terraces, we'll now look at, okay, how much, assuming they are ready today, how much will be the expected selling price of each of the terrace units. Then, with that, to the number of terrace units we have, which we are talking about, say 100 units for now, if one will go for 100 million and you have 100 units, that means that will be about 10 billion. If my memory serves me well, 100 times 100, that's 10 billion. Okay? So, with that, we can determine our gross development value. It's easier done, particularly where the assets, where the development is for outright disposal. The challenges could involve more challenges where it's going to involve holding period. And more importantly, where there are other source of income generation other than the units to be delivered in the projects. There are projects that equally have other source of income generation. Like some projects could have opportunity of parking facilities that will be attracting charges. Some could have opportunity of advertisements that will attract charges. All these, they have to be identified and equally now assessed properly to determine the gross development value of the project. So now, when the gross development value of the project is determined, that will be an ex-ante analysis as at the time of doing the appraisal. However, the fact is that the money or the totality of this revenue will not come in lump sum. They will be trickling in from time to time, depending on the nature of the investment. Now, this is where the question of income projection comes in, the projection of our inflow. Now, to be able to do the projection of the inflow, again, we now need to identify the nature of the development we are doing, the investment objective. If, for example, we are doing an investment, like let's say hotel, we have to do hotel, we have to appraise an hotel. To appraise an hotel, we should know that hotel, there is no way hotel will start generating income until final completion of the construction work. Nobody will even pay in advance for your room. They want to see the facility ready. Then they can now be paying. Some can even book your room for a complete 1 year. Fine, if the market can support that. So it then means that in doing projection, we need to understand the nature of the investments or the development to know when actually such investment or development we have capacity to start attracting inflow. Otherwise, we might just be doing mental exercise. Guesswork. For it not to be a guesswork, then we should be able to determine the nature of the investment or the development, the type of property or the type of use, and know at what point will it be ready and capable of bringing in income. To the contrary, let's look at having to deliver units of accommodation, maybe for sale. Chances are that even right from off-plan, there could be inflow. Right from off-plan. Even though in my own case, as an analyst, I always advise that expecting inflow at the groundbreaking points or just conceptual stage might be too optimistic. And the guiding principle in appraisal is to be extremely careful. You are extremely cautious, conservative about your expectation of return. So part of being conservative could be that even while off-plan might start bringing in money right from the beginning, we might have to exercise caution to really be sure of at what point will the market be ready to start yielding money on that property or the development. So in the light of that, assessing gross development value and having to do the cash flow projection is not an easy task. It's not a task that you just do using your discretion. Now it is a task to be done to conform with the behavior of your deliverables in the market and even the reality of the project that is to be executed. So if it is for example, again, let's take an example of a mall. For a mall, why a mall, the income generating capacity of a mall could start even off plan. The effective timing of that income will start only when the mall is ready for occupation. But in terms of delivering projects, the inflow can come in even before the commencement of tenancies. So we have about 3 scenarios there. A case of where it will not even be able to attract any penny in terms of performing in the market until when it is fully ready. A typical example is that of hotel. A case of where even right from groundbreaking or conceptual stage with serious marketing, there could be off-plan sales, like where you want to buy and you want to develop and sell. And a case of where when the development has attained a stage, particularly a good example of a mall, there can be inflow of capital, even though the performance of the mall cannot start until the delivery of the mall. So these are common examples of conditions that we have to take into consideration when trying to establish basis for cash inflow projection in respect of our projects. So after this short break, by the grace of God, we will go into the basis, our discussion on the basis of these cash inflow projections with example. Stay tuned. It's my pleasure to welcome you back, dear viewers. Before we went on the short break, we started our discussion on assessing gross development value, and we are to start discussing on the basis of inflow projection. So having identified all our areas of inflow, then it's important to determine the timing of the inflow. That is what is very, very sensitive. And I remember talking about the nature of the project and when the project can start performing, or it could be expected to start performing, such that we can now have when to expect inflow to start coming in. Now, basis of inflow projection is actually it's anchored on when the project will have capacity to start earning income. When the project will have capacity to start earning income. A measure of that is what we call consumer confidence. The kind of confidence that people will have, the participants in the market will have on the project, to the extent that they will start parting with money. Now, let's pick an example of property development for sale. It's common that we have what we call off-plan sales, which is technically regarded as forward sales. You have a situation where you have conceptualized the project, you have made the project bankable or sellable in terms of documentations, in terms of design and what have you. You have converted it to marketing collateral, and you are able to now, you are promoting it in the market for sale, and people can start bringing in money. That is forward sales. But that forward sales is like being extremely optimistic. It's not impossible, it happens. But in most cases, when it happens, it's usually at a cost. The likely cost of it could be that such sales will be made, or the unit will be sold at a discount, at least to give an incentive for people that want to key in. That's a cost to it. Another cost to it could be that there will now be what we call payment plan. They can start by dropping 10% or 20% or 30%, as the case may be, and they now have payment plan. They pay over a period of time. Okay? So in this case, all these circumstances have to be borne in mind while doing cash inflow projection based on off-plan sales. Now, having said that, it could be like being extremely too optimistic. Then the question that will readily come to mind is, at what point will the market be so comfortable to start placing payments on units of property developments? Dear viewers, I can tell you from experience that majority of participants in the market, they are risk averse. Just like you, nobody wants to lose his money. Now, in terms of property developments, a convenient point, out of experience, out of the analysis of the lesson learned in series of projects that we have been involved is such that when the building, the structure is standing, particularly it has been roofed and plastered or plastering is going on. At that point, consumers' confidence will be built. It will be very, very high. The market is ready to place payments on the asset. More importantly, where there is equally attractions in terms of maybe stagger payments. That's having payment plan, friendly payment plan. Because you see, the mentality of buyers, participants in the market, is that the structure is standing and they can point to their units. The worst case is that maybe the finishing will not be satisfactory. Worst case, maybe the finishing will not be satisfactory, or maybe it will not be properly done, or maybe it will not be done. The risk exposure became less to them. That is the perception in the market. So at that point, you see the investment performing well. Cash inflow will be higher. The flow will be coming. This is born out of experience. That does not mean you cannot have inflow right from groundbreaking. But for purpose of analysis, I always advise, and just I do in my practice, that cash inflow expectations should start from after roofing. Then that means we equally now need our project schedule to be able to determine when we should start recognizing inflow from. You can see the importance of project schedule. Unfortunately, most of us don't believe in this project schedule, and it's a very essential tool, not only to manage your project, even for us to do appraisal. So the project schedule will be able to tell us that 6 months into the project development period or 3 months into the project development period, all these units will have attained roofing level and the roofing would have been done. Then at that point, it's convenient for us to start capturing inflow. And I can tell you it's safer at that point. It's safer to start capturing inflow, not 100%, but in terms of percentages, starting from as minimal as possible. Okay, another basics. This is born out of experts' knowledge from my own experience. That when the project has been roofed, consumer confidence is very, very high. Subscribers will start coming in and they don't mind paying, for the units, particularly where the pricing is right too. But apart from that, again, expert opinion can come in to guide when can one expect inflow to be, or where there are off-takers already. The contractual agreements with the off-takers could determine the timing of the inflow and the pattern of the inflow. In fact, that is very easier to do and straightforward, where you have that contractual agreements with them and you have agreed how payment will be made. That is a proper way basis to do the cash inflow projection. But where the units are to be led into the open market for sale, then let's be guided with expert opinion. One of which is what I've advised. Only capture or reflect expectation of return or of inflow when the asset has attained moving stage. Structure is standing. Right? Risk-averse subscribers will have at least a degree of confidence at that time to start parting with money. And again, of course, investors have nothing to lose if we exercise caution to this extent, other than to be so generous in terms of our expectation, to feel that we can start capturing inflow right from groundbreaking or right from design. And unfortunately, the market might turn otherwise. The risk exposure will be very, very high. That will lead to what we call downside risk, which an investor will not want. So let's look at the other scenario where you have assumed that the asset will start capturing inflow from when it has attained roofing stage. But the assets or the deliveries, the units, the projects outperforms by capturing inflow right from the beginning, right from your groundbreaking. There is risk too, it's a risk. But that one is what? Upside risk. It's like a surplus to the investor. Every investor will want that. So in appraisal, in your viability analysis, let's be relatively conservative with our expectation. That is the guiding principle. And a clear basis to do that is what I've explained in terms of our expectation of return. Of income or of revenue from our project units. Now, where the asset, like the hotel that I gave as an example, it would be wrong to assume that during development period there is inflow. It's totally wrong. Lodger will not pay in advance for your facility. So to be able to conform with the reality of hotel development, then we will run the development period, right, and get the facility ready for lodging, so that then we can now start our inflow projection based on percentage of absorption that we could expect in the market. Because definitely, when you do your market penetration, it won't be 100% that will be absorbed immediately the asset is, or the facility is introduced into the market. So we can now, on the basis, based on performances of all that investments, hotel investment around, or experts' opinion, then we can determine our percentage of expectations in terms of booking rates for the hotel and run our projections over the holding period or the study period, as the case may be. So dear viewers, basis of inflow projection is actually the timing and pattern of what the market will place on our investments. At what point will the market be so confident enough to place payments on our units? And how much, to what level is that confidence to determine how much we could expect that will start coming in? This ordinarily is a function of experience, lesson learned. And if we are starter, we can conveniently, as a matter of fact, rely on consulting with other experts in this matter. On this note, I want to thank you for your time so far. With this, we'll proceed in our next episode on our discussion of viability, picking up other interesting aspects of viability studies. I look forward to seeing you there.